Face the demons, put them to the test.
What is up, everybody? It is Sunday. It is 8 p.m. Actually, it's 8:01 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know what time it is. Do you know what your cryptids are? Because we don't.
We let them out to play.
In the 70s and 80s, you would come back when the streetlights came on. Well, it is still light outside. It is summer. It is time to get down and boogie.
Yes.
So today on the show, we are wrapping up International Month.
And what better way to wrap it up than with what?
We're going to wrap it up with the Loch Ness Monster.
Woohoo!
We're going international. We're going to wrap it in Scotland. There was a lot of stuff we could have picked from. I was thinking La Llorona, but I figured we'll save La Llorona for later on. Now that might actually be the Texas, maybe New Mexico, because you've been seeing a little bit there. But yeah, we can talk about stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so here we go. The Loch Ness Monster. We're going to go onto the Britannica website. This article is from May 17th, 2025, written by Amy DeCannon. Probably saying that wrong. All right, so, and we do have a good friend of mine that actually lives not far from Loch Ness. Maybe one of these, maybe when we go back to do a Scotland show, we'll get him on to talk about Scottish myths and stuff. That was kind of interesting.
All right.
Yeah. All right, so the Loch Ness Monster, a large marine creature believed by some to inhabit Loch Ness, Scotland. However, much of the alleged evidence supporting its existence has been discredited. It is widely thought that the monster is a myth. So, I mean, we're kind of doing Skeptics Corner right out the bat on that one. Reports of a monster inhabiting Loch Ness date back to ancient times. Notably, local stone carvings by the Pict depict a mysterious beast with flippers. The first written account appears in a 7th century biography of St. Columba. According to that work, in 565 AD, the monster bit a swimmer and was prepared to attack another man when Columba intervened, ordered the beast to go back. It obeyed, and over the centuries, only occasional sightings were reported. Many of these alleged encounters seem inspired by Scottish folklore, which abounds with mythical water creatures. We all know we got a lot of mythical creatures. We got one person watching. It's probably our Twitch guy.
Welcome back, Twitch.
We have 2 people watching. All right.
We're going.
In 1933, the Loch Ness Monster's legend began to grow. At the time, a road adjacent to Loch Ness was finished, offering an unobstructed view of the lake. In April, a couple saw an enormous animal, which they compared to a dragon or prehistoric monster, unquote. And after it crossed their car's path, it disappeared into the water. The incident was reported in a Scottish newspaper, and numerous sightings followed. In December 1933, the Daily Mail commissioned Marmaduke Wetherell, great name, a big game hunter. We always seem to get the big game hunters out.
Right.
To locate the sea serpent. On the lake's shores, he found large footprints that he believed belonged to a very powerful, soft-footed animal about 20 feet or 6 meters long. However, upon closer inspection, zoologists in the Natural History Museum determined the tracks were identical and made with an umbrella stand or ashtray that had a hippopotamus leg as a base. Wetherell's role in the hoax was unclear. So somebody's taking out an umbrella stand and just stomp around. But we know that happens because, it's also been done in the Bigfoot circuit.
Well, just that little bit there, I never ever heard of anyone saying that they seen a Loch Ness cross the road.
Yeah, that was. I don't have those people's names, but I remember hearing about that. Was they were driving along Loch Ness, and the creature just was going down from one side of the road, cross the road, and back into the water. They described it with a long neck, long body, and flippers. Now, they're not as well known as a lot of the other people that we've ever talked about in our things. I mean, it's definitely not a Betty and Barney Hill situation. Because, I mean, some people got a lot of fame going on. A lot of people don't have crapola.
Right.
So you can say,
Hey, where we go?
It's getting a little dark up here. It's been a while since I've used this room. I think people will notice that. I've got the lights back up. Anyway, the Andrew. The news only seemed to spur efforts to prove the monster's existence. In 1934, English physician Robert Kenneth Wilson photographed the alleged creature. The iconic image, known as the surgeon's photograph, appeared to show the monster's small head and neck. The Daily Mail printed the photograph, sparking an international sensation. Many speculated that the creature was a plesiosaur, a marine reptile that went extinct some 65.5 million years ago. And I'm sure everybody's seen it. It's just a little body, and then it's got the head coming up out of the water. It's like world famous. I know a lot of people, they just looked at it and they tried to, it's like the Patterson Gimlin film. People will try to discredit it and call it a hoax, and I mean it's half of one, half the other. The Loch Ness area attracted numerous monster hunters. Over the years, several sonar explorations, notable in 1987 and 2003, were undertaken to locate the creature, but none were successful. In addition, numerous photographs allegedly showed the beast, but most were discredited as fakes or as depicting other animals or objects. Notably, in 1994, it was revealed that Wilson's photograph was a hoax spearheaded by a revenge-seeking weatherall. The monster was actually a plastic and wooden head attached to a toy submarine. In 2018, researchers conducted a DNA survey of Loch Ness and determined what organisms live in the waters. No signs of a plesiosaur or other such large animal were found, though the results indicated the presence of numerous eels. So, eels. That's a big-ass eel.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of videos on YouTube and TikTok of, the humps in the water and the water being disturbed and a lot of weird things going on. But, yeah, apparently somebody wants... in our private chat, somebody said they wanted to come on. If you want to pop over real quick and tell them that, accept the link, come on in, add to the chaos.
I could do that. Why?
It's too hot for the hat right
now.
Or the merrier.
You gonna send the link, good man?
The link should already be in the private chat.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we got this photograph being a complete total hoax, which is kind of interesting because it's like the first guy says, "Yeah, I saw this," and then he's now saying, "Well, yeah, this other guy's picture is a hoax." So I mean, it's kind of hard to say what's going on and what's up and what's what. In 28, we already did that. They were eels. This finding left open the possibility that the monster is an oversized eel, which I don't understand why it could be an oversized eel. Again, we're talking about creatures that are giant. I mean, like when we were talking about Okele Mamembe being a giant hippo and a crocodile, and what nuclear radiation is out and about. Man, It always comes down to we're just going to try and make it simple of, oh, it's an oversized deal. It's a giant hippopotamus. Again, those are giant creatures I don't want any part of.
Why not?
I don't want to pet those puppies. No signs of this sort. This finding left open the possibility that the monster is an oversized eel. Despite the lack of conclusive evidence, the Loch Ness monster remained popular and profitable. In the early 21st century, it was thought that it contributed nearly $80 million annually to Scotland's economy. So,
Wow.
I mean, not to skip ahead to Skeptic's Corner, but we know that it's making money for the country. I would love to fly to Scotland and give them some money and go hang out on the Loch.
Right? Oh.
Hopefully, our person will accept the invite in.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Now we're going to pop over to history.com. We don't want to learn about brownies and chupacabras and stuff. Britannica only had so much on it. So, history.com, Loch Ness Monster.
Ooh, here we go.
The Loch Ness Monster is a mythical animal that allegedly lives in Loch Ness, a large freshwater lake near Inverness, Scotland. Although accounts of an aquatic beast living in the lake date back 1,500 years, all efforts to find any credible evidence of the animal have failed. This hasn't dampened the public's enthusiasm, however, for any news about Nessie. Loch Ness, located in the Scottish Highlands, has the largest volume of fresh water in Great Britain. The body of water reaches a depth of nearly 800 feet and a length of about 23 miles. Scholars of the Loch Ness Monster find a dozen references to Nessie in Scottish history dating back to around 500 AD, when local Picts carved a strange aquatic creature in the standing stones near Loch Ness. The earliest written reference to a monster in Loch Ness is a 7th century biography of St. Columba, Irish missionary who introduced Christianity to Scotland in AD 565. He was on his way to visit the king of the Northern Picts near Inverness when he stopped at Loch Ness to confront a beast, killing people on the lake. And that's when we got into telling people to get back. I don't know if that guy's going to join.
Probably not.
1933, a new road was completed along Loch Ness shore, affording drivers a clear view of the Loch Ness. On May 2nd, 1933, the Inverness Courier reported that a local couple claimed to have seen an enormous animal rolling and plunging on the surface. So, I mean, this is it's the same sighting, but now we've got, instead of coming across the road, we've got rolling and plunging on the surface. So it would be more like a whale having fun. So it's like, okay, that's kind of a weird one. Story of the Loch Ness became a media phenomenon, with London newspapers sending correspondence to Scotland and the circus offering £20,000 reward for capture of the beast. From the 1933 sighting, interest steadily grew, especially after another couple claimed to have seen the beast on land crossing Shore Road. So now we've got technically two different couples seeing the creature doing different things. Which is kind of interesting. Then it goes on to talking about Marmaduke Wetherall finding the footprints, and the footprints being debunked. Short article.
He is not available to join.
Well, right. We're only at the 15-minute mark.
Only 15 minutes? You went through all that in 15 minutes? Oh my god. Oh. This is what?
All right. Well, we do know that the monster gets its name Nessie because of Loch Ness. The latest sighting.
I think the last sighting was back in May.
Yeah, I knew those. I can talk. I do know that they have live web cameras on the loch 24/7. I don't remember the website for it. But I mean, you could tune in if you're working a desk job and have that little window up if you're watching the Loch Ness. There's a guy that sits on the bank. Don't remember the dude's name, and that's what he does. He just sits on the loch and he looks. I believe he's a retired person. So early sightings. St. Columba, 565, according to Adamon. Writing about a century after the events described, Irish monk St. Columba was staying on the land of the Picts with his companions when he encountered local residents burying a man by the river Ness. They explained that the man was swimming in the river when he was attacked by a water beast that mauled him and dragged him underwater despite their attempts to rescue him by boat. Columba sent a follower, Luigi Mocomen, to swim across the river. The beast approached him, but Columba made the sign of a cross and said, "Go no further, do not touch the man, go back at once." The creature stopped as if it had been pulled back with ropes and fled. Columba's men and the Picts gave thanks for what they perceived as a miracle. Believers in the monster point to this story set in the river Ness rather than the loch itself as evidence for the creature's existence as early as the 6th century. Skeptics question the narrative's reliability, noting that water beast stories were extremely common in medieval hagiographies, and Adamne's tale probably recycles a common motif attached to a local landmark. According to skeptics, Adamon's story may be independent of the modern Loch Ness Monster legend and became attached to it by proximity and by believers seeking to bolster their claims. Roger Ben's concerned that this is the most serious of various alleged early sightings of the monster, but all other claimed sightings before 1933 are dubious and do not prove a monster tradition before the date. Christopher Kearney uses a specific historical and cultural analysis of Adamon to separate Adamon's story about St. Columba from the modern myth of Loch Ness Monster, but finds an earlier and culturally significant use of Celtic water beast folklore along the way. In doing so, he also discredits any strong connection between Kelpies or water horses. We should have done Kelpies. And modern media augmented creation of the Loch Ness Monster, because Kelpies are, I believe Kelpies are Scottish. We might take a little detour and talk about Kelpies as compared to Loch Ness Monster. I think we might. We'll go through the list of other sightings. I'm on Wikipedia, by the way.
Just real quick, you were talking about the live cameras. It's actually on visitinfamouslockness.com.
Okay. So there you go, everybody. Tune in. Watch a lot.
Tune in, check it out. Yeah. Let us know if you actually see one.
What are we going to do with it? Yeah, we'll talk about Kelpies in comparison. So it's a 2-for-1 show. Yay!
Uh-oh.
In October 1871, D. Mackenzie of Balnain reportedly saw an object resembling a log or an upturned boat wriggling and churning up the water, moving slowly at first before disappearing at a faster speed. The account was not published until 1934 when Mackenzie sent his story in a letter to Rupert Gould shortly after popular interest in the monster increased. The next sighting was 1988. Mason Alexander MacDonald of Abercan sighted a large, stubby-legged animal surfacing from the loch and propelling itself within 50 yards, 46 meters, of shore where MacDonald stood. MacDonald reported sighting the Loch Ness water bailiff Alex Campbell and described the creature as looking like a salamander. So now we're getting different
Oh my.
It's a dinosaur. It's a salamander. It's an eel. It's a seal. It's a whale. It's a hippo. We're all over the board.
Yes, I defecated
Oh.
all over the place.
All right, so now we've got 1933. The best known article that first attracted a great deal of attention about a creature was published on May 2nd, 1933, in the Inverness Courier about a large beast or whale like fish. The article by Alex Campbell, water bailiff of Loch Ness and a part time journalist, discussed a sighting by Anne Aldy McKay of an enormous creature with the body of a whale rolling in the water in the loch while she and her husband John were driving on the A82 on April 15, 1933. The word monster was reportedly applied for the first time in Campbell's article, although some reports claim that it was coined by editor Evan Farron. The Courier in 2017 published excerpts from the experts from the Campbell article, which had been entitled Strange Spectacle of Loch Ness. And we got a quote here. We love quotes.
Oh, quotes.
Quote, the creature disported itself, rolling and plunging for fully a minute, its body resembling that of a whale, and the water cascading and churning like a simmering cauldron. Soon, however, it disappeared in a boiling mass of foam. Both onlookers confessed that there was something uncanny about the whole thing, for they realized that here was no ordinary denizen of the depths, because apart from its enormous size, the beast had taken a final plunge, sent out waves that were big enough to have been caused by a passing steamer, unquote. So now it's got a body of a whale. So, I mean, if we look at a plesiosaurus, and it's got the flippers and the long neck, if it's thrashing around, I mean, you got the main body, which would like a whale. According to a 2013 article, McKay said that she had yelled, "Stop the beast," when viewing the spectacle. In the late 1980s, a naturalist interviewed Aldy McKay, and that she admitted to knowing that there had been an oral tradition of a beast in the loch well before her claimed sighting. So she knew that there was a legend.
Are you trying to tell me she's going to hoax this thing out?
She might be hoaxing it. But she knew about it before she made her sighting, before she made a report. Alex Campbell's 1933 article also stated that, quote, Loch Ness has for generations been credited with being the home of a fearsome-looking monster, unquote. Modern interest in the monster was sparked by a sighting on July 22nd, 1933, when George Spicer and his wife saw a most extraordinary form of animal cross the road in front of their car. So here's that other couple, George and his wife, who doesn't want to give her name. They described the creature as having a large body about 4 feet high, 25 feet long, and a long, wavy, narrow neck, slightly thicker than an elephant's trunk, and as long as the 10 to 12 foot width of the road. They saw no limbs. It lurched across the road toward the loch 20 yards away, leaving a trail of broken undergrowth in its wake. Spicer described it as the nearest approach to a dragon or prehistoric animal that I have ever seen in my life. And as having a long neck which moved up and down in the manner of a scenic railway, it had an animal in its mouth and had a body that was fairly big with a high back, but if there were any feet, they must have been web kind, and as for a tail, I cannot say, for it moved so rapidly, and when we got to the spot, it had probably disappeared into the loch. Though he was first to describe the creature as a plesiosaur-like dinosaur, evidence suggested by researchers at Columbia University in 2013 proved that his story to be a fake. The university and Dan O'Loughlin suggested that Spicer's sighting was fictionalized and inspired by a long-necked dinosaur that rises out of a lake in King Kong, a film that was extremely popular in cinemas in his home city of London during August 1933 when Spicer reported the sighting. Lochson and Donald Trothier later cited King Kong as evidence of influence on the Loch Ness Monster myth.
Oh.
It's not sounding good for Nessie.
No, it's not. But, giving King Kong credit for this?
Yeah, given the old 1933 King Kong public for stirring up things. On August 4th, 1933, the Courier published a report of Spicer sighting. This sighting triggered a massive amount of public interest and an uptick in alleged sightings, leading to the solidification of the actual name Loch Ness Monster. It has been claimed that sightings of the monster increased after a road was built along the loch in early 1933, bringing workers and tourists to a formerly isolated area. However, Finns had described this as the myth of the lonely loch, as it was far from isolated before then due to construction of the Caledonian Canal. In the 1930s, the existing road by the side of the loch was given a serious upgrade. We've got Hugh Gray from 1933. His photograph taken near Foyers on November 12, 1933, was the first photograph alleged to depict the monster. It was slightly blurred, and it was noted that it looks closely. The head of a dog can be seen. Gray had taken his Labrador for a walk that day. It is suspected that the photograph depicts his dog fetching a stick from the loch. Wow! This whole article right here is just Skeptic's Corner, back and forth, side to side.
Absolutely.
This would be the WrestleMania of Skeptic's Corner, because poor Loch Ness, man. Poor Nessie is just getting beat.
Hey, they're saying, what? Otter or swan?
Yeah. Others suggest that the photograph depicts an otter or a swan. The original negative was lost, of course. Of course it was lost. Why wouldn't it be lost? More for Skeptic's Corner. I mean, this whole show is pretty much Skeptic's Corner at this point.
Let's do a little cryptid roulette here on what kind of an animal it is. I mean, seriously.
Well, we've had otter, we've had whale, we've had eel, we've had salamander.
I mean, come on.
It's all over the place. All right. 1963, Maurice Burton came into possession of 2 lantern slides, contact positive from the original negative, and when projected on a screen, they revealed an otter rolling on the surface in characteristic fashion. Wow. So, the negatives reveal an otter rolling on the surface. More sightings. Arthur Grant, 1934. January 5th, 1934, a motorcyclist, Arthur Grant, claimed to have nearly hit the creature while approaching Abercan near the northeastern end of the loch at about 1 a.m. on a moonlight night. Of course, that's what we would all like to do, is get on a motorcycle and go right around the loch at 1 o'clock in the morning. Actually, I'm being serious. That would be kind of cool. No. But, don't worry, James. I don't know if you've ever ridden a motorcycle. It's been a long ass time for me, so we might have to get trikes.
Trikes. I can do trikes. Why not? What the hell?
That way we don't fall off. According to Grant, it had a small head attached to a long neck. The creature saw him and crossed the road back to the loch. Grant, a veterinary student, described it as a cross between a seal and a plesiosaur. He said he dismounted and followed it to the loch, but saw only ripples. Grant produced a sketch of the creature that was examined by zoologist Maurice Burton, who stated it was consistent with the appearance and the behavior of an otter. That's a big-ass otter.
Right, yeah.
Regarding the long size of the creature reported by Grant, it has been suggested that this was a faulty observation due to the poor light conditions. Paleontologist Darren Nash has suggested that Grant may have seen either an otter or a seal, an exaggerated sighting over time. Then we got the surgeon's photograph in 1934, it's the most famous. Attributed by Robert Kenneth Wilson, a London gynecologist, April 20th, 1934. Multiple British newspapers reported Wilson's claim. They've seen the monster while driving near Loch Ness the day before, but the stories do not mention the existence of a photograph. Dr. Wilson described the monster as having a small head and a swan-like neck protruding 3 feet above the surface of the water. We're going to skip down because there's a bunch of newspaper. We're trying to tell you about the legend of Loch Ness, and this article is just like, nope, fake, otter, eel, sturgeon, swan, duck, goose. So we'll just skip down one. Now in 1938, on May 29th, South African tourist G.E. Taylor filmed something in the loch for 3 minutes on 16mm color film. The film was obtained by popular science writer Maurice Burton. There's that person again, Maurice Burton, who did not show it to other researchers. A single frame was published in his 1961 book, The Elusive Monster. His analysis concluded it was a floating object, not an animal. Maurice Burton this guy pops up every single case.
What makes him so, professional? Like,
might I have a word with you, please?
Oh, yes, you may have a word with me. It almost seems to me that Maurice Burton, now we're going to skeptic the skeptic. Because every single time that picture, a report, or a film comes up, they give it to this Maurice dude who loses it and says, nope, there was nothing. It was nothing. It's an otter. It's a seal. It's a goose. It's a swan. It's an eel. Maurice, what are you hiding, buddy? Of course, that was 1938. I don't think he might not be living anymore, so he might not be hiding anything. William Fraser, 1938, August 15th. William Fraser, a chief constable of Inverness Shire, wrote a letter that the monster existed beyond doubt and expressed concern about a hunting party that had arrived with a custom-made harpoon gun. Determined to catch the monster, dead or alive, he believed his power to protect the monster from the hunters was very doubtful. The letter was released by the National Archives of Scotland on April 27th, 2010. Because, well, you kind of have to stand up because people with guns and craziness are going to go, hey, we're going to go kill something. You know somebody got hurt in that one, man. Probably not being told. Somebody got hurt. Somebody got shot with that homemade harpoon gun, or the homemade harpoon gun blew up in their faces. Some happened. December 1954, sonar readings were taken by the fishing boat Rival 3. Its crew noted a large object kept keeping pace with the vessel at a depth of 146 meters, 479 feet. It was detected for 2,600 feet before contact was lost and regained. Previous sonar attempts were inconclusive or negative. I don't know if I can skip the corner of that one. The sonar's picking up something below you. It's keeping. I don't know how to skip the corner of that one.
Yeah, sorry. I was replying to someone who wanted to know where our podcast could be found.
Okay. Peter McNabb at Urquhart Castle on July 29, 1955, took a photograph that depicted 2 large black humps in the water. The photograph was not made public until it appeared in Constance White's 1957 book on the subject. On October 23, 1958, it was published in the Weekly Scotsman. Author Ronald Binns wrote that the phenomenon which McNabb photographed could easily be a wave resulting from 3 trawlers traveling closely together up the loch. Other researchers consider the photograph to be a hoax. Roy Mackle requested to use the photograph in his 1976 book. He received the original negative from McNabb, but discovered it differed from the photograph that appeared in White's book. The tree at the bottom left of White's was missing from the negative. It is suspected that the photograph was doctored by rephotography a print. So now we got more fakes. God, I'm sorry, Nessie. We're trying to make you look good up here, but everything is just you're a giant eel. Or a complete and total fake.
For sure.
You know what? I should just do this.
Uh-oh, what are we doing?
We're just going to throw out Skeptic's Corner. We're leaving Skeptic's Corner running this entire thing. Aeronautical engineer Tim Dinsdale filmed what he believed to be a dark hump that left a wake crossing Loch Ness on April 23rd, 1960. Dinsdale, who reportedly had the sighting on his final day of the search, described it as mahogany red with a blotch on its side when viewed through binoculars. He said that when he mounted his camera, the object began to move, and he shot 40 feet, 12 meters, 40 feet of film, because it's a reel. According to the Joint Air Reconnaissance Intelligence Center, who published a 1966 report analyzing the film, the object was probably animate. After the film, Dinsdale continued to pursue finding the Loch Ness Monster, but while he claimed to have had additional sightings, he was unable to produce more photographic evidence. In 1990, he couldn't find any more evidence. Hey, look, I got this film. I got nothing else. 1993, Discovery Communications produced a documentary, Loch Ness Discovered, with visual enhancement of the Dinsdale film. The person who enhanced the film noticed a shadow in the negative that was not obvious in the developed film. By enhancing and overlaying frames, he found what appeared to be the rear body of the creature underwater. Quote, before I saw the film, I thought the Loch Ness Monster was a load of rubbish. Having done the enhancement, I'm not sure, unquote. So that would be interesting if you can see the humps and you can actually see the shadow underneath. So I mean, we're dipping out of the corner for a little bit. Just a little bit.
Not far enough. Sorry.
Not far enough. Where was I? All right. However, additional analysis of the Dinsdale film have indicated that his sightings was a case of mistaken identity and that he likely filmed a boat under poor lighting conditions. So now Nessie's a boat.
Right. Back to Skeptic's Corner.
Slamming it back to Skeptic's Corner. Now we're back to being a boat. We're a boat now. I'm sorry, Nessie. I want to believe in you.
It's getting so hard. Oh, shit.
Don't worry, everybody. This train's still kind of on the tracks. We're not totally off yet.
We're not off the rails.
We're not off the rails yet.
Yes.
Although Dinsdale attempted to rule this out by organizing for a fishing boat to sail a similar route later that morning, this comparison was filmed under different lighting conditions with a white boat. JARIC's estimates of the size and speed of the object are now believed to be overestimates due to miscalculations of the angle of the camera and cuts in the film, and overlaying multiple frames seem to show a, quote, pale blob towards the rear end of the object, which appears in multiple frames, matches with the position of the helmsman of the boat as demonstrated in Dinsdale's boat comparison. So now it's a boat and a guy.
Christ.
It has also been noted that the object in this film does not actually submerge as often perceived, but blends into the greater reflections of the water. Additionally, Dick Rayner has noted that Dinsdale's binoculars were actually a wider field of view than his telephoto camera. Additionally, critics considered the dark shape noticed by Discovery documentary analysis unlikely to be the shadow or a body underwater due to the low angle of view, and is most likely to be reflections of the shore behind the object. So now it's reflections.
It's a body. So now we got a dead body in the water?
Who knows at this point? It's a boat. It's a Giant salamander. Well, I don't want to play. I don't want to pet that puppy. There you go, Josh. If you happen to be watching or listening, don't want to pet that puppy if it's a giant salamander that's 20 feet long. Although most researchers do not believe Denzel to be a hoaxer, his susceptibility to confirmation basis and trusting dubious sources as evidence has been criticized. Now, May 21st, 1977, Anthony Doc Shields, camping next to Urquhart Castle, took what were alleged to be the clearest picture of the monster then available. Shields, a magician. I don't know if I want to continue reading. We already got a magician. Now we got a magician taking pictures. Planning to summon the creature out of the water. So he's summoning creatures out of the water. We know how magicians are.
Oh, you're saying it's an elephant squid? Oh my
Lynn
God.
described it as an elephant squid, claiming the long neck shown in the photograph is the squid's trunk, and that a white spot at the base of the neck is its eye. Due to the lack of ripples and translucent look, it has been declared by a hoax by many people and received its name because of its staged look. So it's been called the Loch Ness Muppet. Elephant squid. Now we're throwing in squids.
I think I'm starting to run out of animals for this thing. I mean, okay, whatever. I give up.
It's a dead body. It's a seal. It's a
boat. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, Tammy. I know you believe in Nessie, but we're trying real hard here, and it ain't working.
Oh
my God.
Okay. So now we got more sightings. We're a bit more into modern day. Let's see what animal they throw at us next.
Right? Let's go.
On May 26, 2007, 55-year-old laboratory technician Gordon Holmes videotaped what he said was, quote, "This black thing," great way to describe that, Gordon. This black thing, this jet black thing.
At least he didn't say it was an animal.
About 14 meters long, moving fairly fast in the water, unquote. It's a submarine. Loch Ness Monster Watchers described it as among the best footage ever seen. BBC Scotland broadcast a video on May 29, 2007, and interviewed Holmes, Adrian Shine, a marine biologist at the Loch Ness.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's an otter. Seal or water bird. Come on. We got it. We had to have animals somewhere in this.
Oh, man. It's all Skeptics Corner. Our former colleague would be having a field day on this one.
Oh, yeah. He definitely would.
On August 24th, 2011, Loch Ness boat captain Marcus Atkinson photographed a sonar image of a 1.5 meter wide or 0.9 foot unidentified object that seemed to follow his boat for 2 minutes at a depth of 23 meters, 75 feet, and ruled out a possibility of a small fish or seal. In April 2012, a scientist from the National Oceanography Center said that the image is a bloom of algae or zooplankton. I read ahead, and yeah, now it's algae. It's plankton. It's zooplankton.
But see, that right there makes a little more sense, though, because that's possible. You know, algae blooms and any of that shit in any kind of water. That would make more sense. Nessie is an algae bloom. Damn it! I'm saying it right there.
Wait. I know what he is. I can tell you exactly what he is. It is a giant salamander being ridden by an otter and a goose
Being
while they're
dressed.
covered in algae.
I was gonna say dressed in algae. Yes.
Oh, wait. We forgot the elephant squid. He's got to be there somewhere. It's like a big old flotation of animals just all hanging out together in an algae bed so they look bigger. Yeah, I read ahead and saw algae and zooplankton. Could not even say oceanography center. Oceanography. That was not hard, but when I read ahead and went algae and zooplankton, I just gave up. It's like the brain just went. The brain just went. You know what? You're done. You're done. You're done. Just you're done.
You know, it's getting there. We're just about done with this.
And we're not even done with the sightings.
I know. Oh my God! How many more are there?
1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 more.
Oh, okay.
So we got August 3rd, 2012. Skipper George Edwards claimed that a photo he took on November 2nd, 2011 shows Nessie. Edwards claims to have searched for the monster for 26 years and reportedly spent 60 hours per week on the Loch aboard his boat. I want that job. That sounds great. I will just go sit on a boat on the Loch, motoring up and down all day long, smoking cigars.
And looking for Nessie.
Looking for Nessie. Where do we sign? Where do we sign, James? We are killing ourselves. This is our job. This is what we should be doing. Looking for aquatic monsters. We'll just park the boat. We'll drop an anchor. We'll have a little cigars. Have a little Jack. Probably Coke.
Yeah, all right. I'm up for that. Why not? Put it on the bucket list of things to do. That bucket list is ever growing.
We're adding more animals to this one.
Oh shit! No, are you serious?
Edward claimed to search for monsters for 26 years. He was on his boat, Nessie 104, taking tourists for rides. Edward said, quote, "In my opinion, it probably looks like a manatee, but not a mammal. When people see 3 humps, they're probably just seeing 3 separate monsters," unquote. So now we got a manatee, and a seal, and a goose, and a duck, and a giant eel, and a giant salamander, and the octopus, the squid, the elephant squid, and a body in a boat.
Don't forget the algae and the
algae bloom. So all these animals are in a boat, dragging an algae bloom around it.
All right, I just gotta cut the damn chase. Nessie, I love you, but you're not freaking real. Get out of here.
We've got 3 more to go. I'm skipping the rest of the article because they say, oh yeah, that picture of a manatee is fake. So we're just skipping that one. We're just, boop, we got to move on. Oh my God, we're at 50 minutes. Oh my God, we've been Skeptic's Corner for what, the last 40 minutes?
Damn, longest time for Skeptic's Corner.
August 27, 2013, tourist David Elder presented a 5-minute video of a mysterious wave in the Loch. According to Elder, the wave was produced by a 4.5 meter, 15-foot solid black object just under the surface of the water. Elder, from East Kilbridge, South Lincolnshire, was taking a picture of a swan at the Fort Augustus Pier on the southwestern end of the Loch when he captured the movement. He said the water was very still at the time and there were no ripples coming off the wave and no other activity in the water. Skeptics suggest that the wave may have been caused by a wind gust. So now it's the wind. Dear God. Apple Maps photograph 2014. On April 19th, 2014, it was reported that a satellite image of Apple Maps showed what appeared to be a large creature, thought to be the Loch Ness Monster, just below the surface of Loch Ness. At the loch's far north, the image appeared about 30 meters, 98 feet long. Here we go. Possible explanations were the wake of a boat, with the boat itself lost in image stitching or low contrast. Seal caused ripples or floating wood. And then we've got drone footage of September 2021. It is reported that a 20-foot creature was captured on a live stream near the Loch.
I want to see that footage.
Yeah, and there's been a bunch. I mean, we've had Edwin Mountain Expedition 1934. We've had the Loch Ness Phenomenon Investigation Bureau from 1962 to 1972. So people spent 10 years out on the Loch looking for it. We've had the sonar study, 1967 to 1968. They went out and did a sonar sweep of the Loch. There was the Robert Rhine studies, 1972, 1975, 2001, 2008. We're not going to get into everything to talk about because it's. I don't need to have any more just my hopes shattered because I'm sure there's more animals in these little things. Well, we did a sonar in the thing and we found out that it's a shark. I'm waiting for that one. I'm waiting for it to be a shark. I'm waiting. We already got whale. We already got squid. We got elephant, squid. We got giant otters, giant salamanders. I've heard sturgeon, birds.
Yeah, if I look down in one of the other ones, it says ducks. Go figure. Somebody.
Oh, here we go. 2008, Rhines theorized that the creature may have become extinct, citing the lack of significant sonar readings and a decline in eyewitness accounts. He undertook a final expedition using sonar and an underwater camera in an attempt to find a carcass. Rhines believes that the animals may have failed to adapt to temperature changes resulting from global warming. Well, if that was in 2008, then we're still having serious sightings going on to this day. So I think you were wrong, buddy. So yeah, that was all his Robert Rhine studies. And then there was the Operation Deep Scan, 1987. They took 24 boats and swept the whole loch and just scanned everything. Searching for the Loch Ness Monster 2003, the BBC sponsored a search of the loch using 600 sonar beams and satellite tracking. The search had sufficient resolution to identify a small buoy from space. Adrian Schein and Kongsberg Maritime, 2016. They did the DNA survey in 2018. And then in 2023, they did the 90th anniversary high-tech sweep of the Loch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you go down to the bottom of the whole page, misidentification of known animals. So let's go over it, everybody.
Yeah, but
Eels.
this isn't all of them, though.
Oh, wait. So we got eels.
We got elephants.
We got an elephant. Greenland shark. I knew it. I knew there was a shark somewhere on this. The whale's catfish. That wasn't in any of the other stuff we read.
Well, but it's here now.
It's here now. Now we got that. Then we got, oh my God, now we got more. We got more animals. Loch Ness has resident otters and photos of them and deer swimming in the loch. So it might have been a deer now. It could have been boat wakes. The boat goes by and leaves a little wake, and then everyone goes, oh my God, it's Nessie. Trees fall in the loch and they just bob around a bit. And oh my God, it's Nessie. We got the rippling effect because it's just a long, narrow body of water. So they're saying that, oh yeah, when the boat goes by, the ripples go out, then they hit the banks, and then they come back, and that's what you're seeing is these ripples coming across from shore to shore from the boats, and then when they hit back to each other, they look like something in the middle. And
yeah.
Well, it's also earthquakes. Earthquakes might do it, but Earthquakes in Scotland are too weak to cause observables. Such is a large oscillation of a lake caused by the water reverting to its natural level after being blown to one end of the lake, resulting in a standing wave. So basically, it's the Highlands. You get a big gust of wind, and it'll rush everything to one side, then it'll come back to the other side, and then we got Nessie. Optical effects. Wind conditions can give a choppy, matte appearance to the water, with calm patches appearing dark from the shore, reflecting the mountains and clouds. So now it's a cloud reflection. Oh, wait. I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Seismic gas. It's swamp gas, everybody. You're just seeing swamp gas. Nothing to see.
But better yet, there's folklore.
Then, of course, they're talking about it could be a plesiosaur. It's not a plesiosaur.
No. I say we put a fork in this thing and say it is done and over with.
I'll say this much. If it is real, it's a good story. If it's all a bunch of hoaxes, at least it's bringing economic liberties to the towns that are around Loch Ness.
True.
So, personally, though, I would like to believe in Loch Ness. I mean, we've got other sea creatures out there: Ogopogo, Flathead Lake Monster. We've got Colossal Claw, supposedly outside of Oregon here on the coast. I mean, we've got six more dozen lake monsters out there in the world.
If any one of these I would really truly love to believe in, this would be the one. I mean, it's so endeared to the surrounding area. The economy's there. Obviously, they're raking in the money from it. You get the big draw for tourists because they all want to believe and see it for themselves. I'm holding out just a sliver of hope. But, let's get the identification down to a science and not, today we're going to make it a pig or an ostrich or some bullshit. Get it down to one thing and one thing only. Not just random animals. God almighty.
I don't know.
How many different animals was that?
I lost count, really.
I was going to say, I lost count.
Well, how about, since we're going to close out the show here, how about we say it is all of the animals they talked about, riding on a boat, dragging that algae farm along with it to make it look bigger, right into the shadows and the fog, and that's what we're going to call it. And collectively, it is known as Nessie.
Tahoe.
I call it a nightmare. God. All righty. Well, we will be returning July 6th. We are going to start our California month, and open that one will be Queen Mary. And yeah, I don't think we'll go so far off the rails, but I think we will in the end because we are chaos.
And you know what? It was actually pretty good tonight. Nothing really majorly. I mean, no technical difficulties, which was good. Just goddamn misidentifications of a beloved cryptid.
Yeah, the cryptid I do have tattooed on my arm.
Yeah, sorry.
But I mean, technically, I got that tattoo because of Flathead Lake Monster. So.
All right.
On that note, we're going to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for sticking with the chaos. James, as always, you've got the final word.
Keep your cryptids close and tight and hug them all night.
Catch you next Sunday, everybody. Bye.